Hello, my name's Artemis, and I seem to be giving a lot of the same advice to people lately because apparently cutting people off is what's on my mind, and this is something that I feel like is a big thing to talk about, a big thing to deal with, because there are times with people in your life, whether that's friends or family, co-workers, whatever, where you kind of feel like you've hit a dead end, where you kind of feel like you don't know what you can really do or say anymore, where maybe their impact in your life is not healthy for you, it's not conducive to the peaceful kind of existence that you want to experience, and you have to maybe concede to the point that your time together's done, and maybe it's time that you go your separate ways, and that can be a very difficult thing to come to terms with for a variety of reasons. There are also a variety of reasons as to why you might arrive at this conclusion, so I thought that's what we can talk about. Let's talk about those points, let's talk about those reasons, let's talk about cutting off the dead weight and moving on with your life. Let's get into it. Now, one of the main reasons we tend to keep people in our lives a lot longer than perhaps we should is because inherently a lot of us are people pleasers. You see, we're not entirely all that comfortable with who we are as people, we don't have the greatest self-esteem, and more importantly, we don't feel like we're worth keeping around, and that we need to consistently prove our worth to other people by being of service, by doing things that make them feel good and make them feel happy, and generally setting ourselves on fire to keep everybody else warm. And that is where you end up pushing yourself to the limits when it comes to the people you are around. You see, not everybody is going to exhibit this behavior, but if you are around someone that perhaps you shouldn't be, who is not treating you how you deserve to be treated, it's very easy to keep hanging around them because it's too polite not to. You know, I need to, because what if it hurts their feelings? What if it upsets them? What if other people don't think I'm a good person because of it? And that's a very real fear, it really is. There are so many people that stick with friends or family purely because, oh yeah, but what if it hurts them? They're hurting you, okay? They're hurting you. They are not being a positive influence in your life. They are not someone that is sparking joy. They're not helping you. They're not thinking about you. This is not an equal relationship here. You need to keep that in mind because you're putting so much thought and effort into, oh, I don't want to hurt them, when they ain't giving two fucks about you. And this is one of the major reasons I feel people get pushed to the point of no contact, because these things are often very easily fixed. You can work on connection with people, you can work on what they're giving you, and you can communicate things pretty effectively. But if you're not doing that because you don't want to upset people, then you end up in a point where it becomes intolerable and you have to decide, you know what, this person is no good for me, I need to step the fuck back. And it's difficult because, yeah, there might be some pushback, but sometimes it's fucking worth the pushback. Obviously, becoming a reformed people pleaser is one of the main reasons that you might find yourself cutting people off, but there are other reasons as well. Reasons that are not so aggressive, not so monumental. They're more just kind of ending with a whimper rather than a big bang. And one of those reasons is that you just don't have anything left to say. Now, a lot of us in our lives and we have relationships with people, we like to help others. We like to help them move forward in their lives. We like to support them, give them that counsel that they deserve, that they require, give them advice, and just generally help elevate them to be the person that we know they can be. But not everybody is actually looking to do that, and with certain people, there comes a point where you find yourself having the same conversation over and over again. The same solutions, the same tactics, the same pieces of advice you have to keep repeating because they're not actually doing anything to help their situation. And you have to start coming around to the realization that maybe they've become addicted to the support, that what you are offering is not being received the way that you would intend it to be. It's no longer support, it's no longer being friendly, it's no longer trying to help them, it's actually become enabling. And having someone nearby that they can say, I hate this situation, it's shit, I wish it would change, and then you come along and go, oh yeah, it's horrible, maybe you should do this. They're just using that as a way to vent the emotion at the situation without actually doing anything about it. Now, I know that a lot of us that offer this help, we don't want to be enablers, we want to help people do better, and there comes a point we have to face that reality of, maybe I'm now helping this problem continue. And I mean, it can go a little deeper than that. I personally have a problem with always trying to fix every problem I see, and I keep that in check as best I can, but when I come up across problems that are impossible for me to solve, it causes friction. And there have been numerous times in my life where I've just had people that consistently keep making the same mistakes, but consistently keep asking me what they should do about it and then ignoring that. Now, obviously, you don't have to take any advice I give you. You don't have to do anything that I suggest you should do. But if you keep asking for it and then consistently ignore it and then come and bitch to me about how bad it was, I mean, there's only so many times I can tell people, don't put your hand in the fire, it's hot, it will burn you, and then watch them do exactly that before I realize I'm just going to step away because this is starting to get to me now. And that's honestly one of the main reasons I feel some people do come to this conclusion of, I need to step back. And the real sad part about it is that a lot of the times, you don't need to do anything to actually step back. All you got to do is stop being the first person to reach out. Now, it is no tea, no shade, no pink lemonade to say that some people flat out lack the emotional maturity necessary to maintain a healthy relationship. It's sad. It really is. You kind of wish that people could learn this shit very easily, but it's just not something that comes with age, it's something that comes with experience. There are people I know who are in their 60s that do not have the emotional intelligence that people I know in their early 20s have. Sometimes it just doesn't happen for people, and that's how it is. But that makes this all the much harder because it's very hard to have a conversation with people about your needs and their needs and how you can have a healthy relationship if they just flat out don't have the tools necessary to understand it. And you do get this a lot with narcissistic types, with people who are very arrogant, people who are very selfish with their demands on what they need a person to be in their life. And that's a very difficult thing to come up against because it becomes a point where you can't find a solution, you can't build one, you can't find a better way forward because they don't care enough to do it. And that's where they start to act controlling. If you start to slip away, if you start to feel like, you know what, maybe I don't need to be around this person so much, that's when they decide to start changing the narrative. They just start to just basically run you down, trash talk you, fill a narrative of this person's an asshole and they're abandoning me and wow. And no one ever seems to ask, like, okay, so what did you do to make them abandon you? You know, it doesn't always go that way, but surely there's two sides to this coin and you're only showing us one. And this is a very real reason a lot of people do eventually decide, you know, maybe I don't need to be around this person. Maybe I don't want them in my life because I'm trying to treat them well. I'm trying to be treated well, but it's just so one-sided. And there comes a point where you have to realize that they just don't have those thought processes. They do not have that level of thinking. They just don't. They don't have the tools necessary to meet you halfway, to give you what you're giving them. And you can't force that upon them, and you have to decide maybe it's best I just don't. It's funny because you tend to find these sorts of patterns quite a lot in family situations. Now, I've touched on this just a little bit before in another video, but I still stand by the point that the umbrella of family can cover up all manner of sins that you are supposed to just accept. Like, oh, you can't cut them off, they're family. It doesn't matter that they treated you like shit, they're family. It doesn't matter that you've never felt a part of this family because of the actions of these individuals, they're still family. You're still related by blood and genetics. Therefore, fuck your feelings, think about them. And this is a very difficult one because the whole concept of family is so inbuilt and ingrained in our lives, in our society, that you do genuinely feel bad for having to have any kind of negative feelings towards them, you know? But honestly, break free of that. And I feel like a lot of people are. We are awakening up to the concept of found family, but also waking up to the concept that that's not a get out of jail free card anymore, okay? I don't give a shit what relation you are to me. You treat me a certain way, you will be treated in response to that. And sometimes that just means I'm gonna step the fuck away. And it's very difficult. Sometimes these end up in massive, big, huge fights where you argue, you shout, you scream, and a lot of the times they don't. They just fade away, and there's no resolution, there's no closure. Honestly, closure is a myth for this sort of thing, and you just have to accept that we were forced together through random genetics, not through connection. And a lot of people have problems with that. They don't like admitting to that sort of thing, but sometimes your family can be the least healthy thing for you, and you have to make a decision for yourself and your life going forward, whether or not you are going to value that imagined importance in your life over your own peace, over your own feelings. I see so many people sacrificing themselves, setting themselves on fire to keep their family warm. Because they're family. Because I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to cause issues. If it is an issue for you to tell people what you need, and they get upset because they have to give you something rather than taking it from you, you do not need them in your life. If they cannot face up to the responsibilities of their own actions and their own words and how they have affected someone that they supposedly love, they do not sound like family to me. I don't know how much clearer I can make this. It's very difficult, I get it. But also, how many times are you going to go through the same pattern with the same people and think to yourself, I'm not doing it again, before inevitably doing it again? Now, the really difficult part of all of this is that sometimes you have to learn how to be comfortable being the villain. And you have to learn to be happy being talked down about people trashing your name, dragging it through the mud. Because they will. Essentially, when you are giving someone support, attention, and your presence in their life, you are giving them something that they want. And when you take it away because it's good for you, you are taking away something they want. And they will react, most likely, pretty fucking negatively about it. A lot of people don't like admitting fault. A lot of people don't like accepting the responsibility of what they have done, what they have said, how they have treated someone. So they just decide to fucking gaslight themselves and believe a false narrative that it's actually your fault, that actually you're the reason all of this went wrong. And they fill themselves with this little confirmation bias and they link anything possible to it and they entrench themselves in this view so fucking hard that it becomes an act of aggression and they have to outwardly attack people. And you need to be comfortable being attacked and not caring. It's very fucking difficult because when you cut someone like this off, there's a high chance that they will decide to wage war in your name. They will talk shit about you. They'll make up fucking straight lies about you. And you have to come to a point where you are more than happy to be the villain in their story if it means their absence in yours. If they're talking behind your back, good. That's where they should be. Behind you. Forever. It's difficult because it's almost an attempt to lure you back in. It's almost a way to get you to come back to the conversation so that they can try and manipulate you again. Because if they're talking shit about you and you turn around and go, "Oi, that's bullshit," they've got you talking again. The no contact is broken. You have to stay strong with it. And none of us want to. None of us want to do this. This was not something we actively decided we were going to do from the beginning. This is the last fucking resort. And then when you get attacked for it, you have to stick to your guns. Don't waver. The second you show that your no contact can be broken, it's always going to be broken. And quite frankly, you know the truth. You know what's good for you. You know what's healthy for you as a person. And you have to trust in that. Act in that. They can say whatever they want to say. They can call you what they want to call you. They can bitch off to their own little circle of friends about what a terrible person you are. But I guarantee you, they're only giving them one side of this story. They're not saying what they did to you, what they said about you. And eventually, they'll likely end up doing it to their own circle as well. In the wise words of a certain blue dog, fuck those cunts! Cut them the fuck off. Artemis, 2024. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy this video, but hopefully it was relatable and hopefully it was entertaining enough to keep you watching. Hopefully it wasn't too relatable because it's quite a heavy subject. It's quite a difficult thing to deal with. Now, obviously, I do want to reiterate the point that going no contact is not something that any of us really want to do. It is not something that we see as the first option. And most of the time it is the last resort. It is the ultimate admittance of defeat. It is, oh, I really can't get what I want. I really can't get what I need. I can't do what needs doing. This is the only option left. This is not us throwing a tantrum. This is not anybody saying, oh, well, fuck you. What this is us finally realizing that whole seeing someone's potential is a lie. And that other people are just not making the decisions necessary to be a beneficial part of our lives. There comes a point where you have to think a little bit selfishly And I don't know why that's perceived as such a bad thing. And you have to admit to yourself, you know what? Everything that I want you to be, everything that I want you to do, all of the ways in which I need you to act to show me that you actually give a fuck about me and the relationship between us, you're not doing any of them. And I don't know why you think you should be treated as if you are. I've got no contact with people in my life. It's never been a huge fight. It's always been a fade away. And I think the saddest thing that I've ever found about all of this was how much I've come to realize it was the best decision for me. Because it is depressing. It is a hard thought to wrestle with. When you fight so hard to reconcile this in your mind, to put aside those thoughts of pleasing other people and finally decide, no, I'm going to work for my own peace. I'm going to do what needs doing for me. And then you realize that they were a bad influence. It is a very difficult, it's a very bitter pill to swallow, but it's a necessary one. And I do believe that in certain circumstances, it's the only one. So, yeah, heavy subject this week. You know what would be really weird is if I followed up all of this important life advice with an advert for feet pics. Whoops! Look, it was really quick. I skipped it this time. But I mean, the merchandise is definitely there. You should check that the fuck out. That would be amazing. If you enjoyed this video, I like giving these advice videos, and it helps me reconcile shit in my own head, and I hope it helps people as well. You're not alone in these issues. They're actually very common in this world, and the more that we talk about them, the more we get a chance to feel less alone and less broken and less abnormal in this fucked up, broken, abnormal world of ours. Oh look, you can also support on Patreon if you wanted to, you know, keep me alive. That would be amazing. Keep me alive, help me try and escape this shithole country, all of that fun stuff. But thank you very much for watching. I hope this video helped some people in some ways. Let me know what you think in the comments, whether you've done this, whether you feel like you need to. I do like reading that stuff. And I guess I'll speak to you all next week. Bye!